Hello Sagittarius, welcome to your July 2019 reading. I feel like you are having an exciting day. So let's find out why. What is this excitement about? Okay, so it's less excitement, I think, as just like a very mentally charged day. Just a lot of thoughts going through your head. I feel like you're trying to figure something out because I have in this deck the Pagan Otherworlds deck some lunar cycle cards, and we have the Black Moon and the Ten of Swords here. And my name for the Black Moon card is Fear of the Unknowing. It's really, a question mark in our lives can really act like a big open pit mine, where we're down there, we're digging, but really we're just falling and getting deeper and deeper into something that perhaps we might just have to relinquish our desire to control or anticipate and let play out a bit. And a lot of that energy that we put into trying to work it out could be better spent elsewhere. So the Hierophant, yeah. My son is a Sagittarius, and the Hierophant is his favorite card. So I'm kind of chuckling to myself here that sometimes our knowledge can work against us by closing us to the reality or the potential of what we don't know or we haven't seen yet. So let's maybe ask a bit more about that. Yeah, I have a saying for myself because I have this tendency as well, which is the happy Hierophant knows not what he believes. Because let's remember that sometimes the joy of holding knowledge can overshadow the joy of attaining it. So I'm just going to pull 5 cards here and get a sense of the situation. So the last card here is another lunar cycle card, and it's the half moon. And what that says to me is that you are going to get to a point, although it kind of points back to what I was just saying. I'll interrupt myself here for a brief minute to be like, see, knowing and unknowing are equally important. But I did also want to say that I feel that you will get to a point where you will have, I feel like this important question that's looming in your life, you will be provided with enough information. I feel like you kind of want all of it. But I think this is saying, like, you're going to know enough about what you're asking about soon. How soon? Be patient, I guess, is the answer. I was like, how soon? 4 of Pentacles. I'm just getting the sense of like all in good time here, and that it's to your benefit, actually, that you don't know everything yet. So let's look at some of the other cards. The Empress, Strength, King of Wands, and 9 of Pentacles. Wow, this is very much a do-it-yourself project here. It's really interesting. This Empress doesn't seem so much to be open to receiving as she is to be saying, I don't need anything from anyone. You come here to get what I have to give you. I haven't seen her this arrogant in a while. A lot of sort of like, a lot of like ahead of time, like, I don't need your help. And Strength, yeah, so this is what I feel like you projecting the fact that you don't need any help, I think might be a sort of false stand-in for genuine strength. So I feel like what's actually happening is you're feeling a little undermined in your strength, having moved on. I want to say having moved on from a position of loss, but honestly, Sagittarius, I feel like this is you not wanting to admit that you have lost something with this 5 of Pentacles inverted here. Sometimes we don't want to admit that winter has arrived in our lives. We want to keep walking around in our shorts as if nothing's happened. Yeah, look, I can't believe that all 3 of these cards came out. I won't even say you're trying to know more than you do. I feel like you're pretending to know more than you do. There's some false certainty around this, which is not an insult, just so you know. We all operate on a lot of false certainty. We all have to make a lot of assumptions just to get through our day without driving ourselves mad, which is sort of the overarching energy you have here with the fear of the unknowing, the Ten of Swords, all that mental energy, and the Hierophant. You know, I need to know, I need to know. This is definitely coming out from some sort of need or fear. The World card. So I feel like in this sense I hear the world is watching. So it seems like you're under a lot of pressure. Maybe you've hit a wall with the Eight of Wands inverted. Waiting for something to happen, waiting for something to come through and just being like, I know it's going to be fine, I know it's going to be fine. But in reality, feeling a little defeated here with the Ace of Swords inverted. Something's getting in the way of you attaining your goal on your path. And okay, so Five of Swords. Okay, this is why. This is what's going on. You aren't prepared to lose this round. I can relate to how sometimes it feels really important to be like, you will not fuck with me. You will not get in my way. You will not. Maybe that's the hand being like, it's not just, I don't need anything from you. It's like, you fucking can't take anything from me right now. Like, I refuse to accept any outcome other than the one that I have envisioned. But that is dangerous because that is also, at the end of the day, very fear-motivated thinking, right? Like, it can be powerful to project that energy out to the world, but we don't want to project that inwards because it's okay if we don't get what we want. It's okay if it doesn't happen. There has to be space, and there has to be a part of us always preparing. I don't want to say preparing for the worst, but preparing to lose, preparing to that's part of the gamble and the power of wanting anything is the possibility that you won't receive it. But I have the Fool inverted here, and I feel like you're going to feel like you made, so maybe a sort of chance was taken and you're going to feel like you fucked up. Like, you can't possibly have made this, you can't justify taking the chance without success. And so again, you know, that's not true. Like, you're allowed to learn, you're allowed to make mistakes, and B, we're allowed to want things that we can't guarantee the outcome of. Sorry, I'm just gonna mute that. People talking to me. The King of Wands. I feel like this King of Wands isn't wanting to look me in the face because of the shame of maybe there's other people involved here that you would feel you're letting down. So the Knight of Swords, yeah, you're just rushing, saying like this braggadocio, like, I've got it under control, don't worry. But then on the inside, on the other side of this, there's just like blind terror, I want to say, of what happens if this doesn't work out. So you're feeling very lonely in this with the Nine of Pentacles. Very disciplined, very ready to strike, but usually the Nine of Pentacles, it's a really positive card for me, especially as someone who struggled with being alone and feeling independent and like, I will be fine no matter who does or does not help me or is involved in my life. But I'm getting a lot of sadness here of you are turning away from yourself. When you insist on an outcome and insist on your own feelings about something, you're leaving part of yourself behind, and I feel like that part of you is in deep mourning right now, Sagittarius. Okay, that was a lot. I'm going to clear the table. I'm going to leave this Queen of Cups here. And this Half Moon card, because I feel like that's really our goal. I feel like this is really positive, and it's saying you're gonna get the news, but we're not gonna trying to go from a black moon to a full moon is not in our best interests. Shuffle a bit. So I'm going to ask for 2 outcomes. If you get what you want, if you don't get what you want. Where is what you want? There it is. So if you don't get what you want, you're not going to react very well. The Page of Wands inverted, the 2 of Pentacles inverted, and the Devil inverted. So that king sitting there on his throne, kind of like looking around, looking everywhere but where his subjects are, the people relying on him, and your own ego sort of demanding that this be manifest. Holding that staff, I see the Page of Wands here inverted, and I just feel like the person that is feeding the king, that is granting him his power, is going to get sort of cut off at the knees if this doesn't come through. And that's not appropriate. Sorry, I feel like I'm lecturing you a bit here. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I'm worried that that's part of why you're so determined to see this come out the way that you want it to, is that you've sort of made a commitment ahead of time to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that might not be in your best interests. The 2 of Pentacles inverted, just like that sense of imbalance, right? And I feel like this really ties into what the lunar cycle cards are trying to tell us of trying to go. Sorry about that, Sagittarius, my camera cut out. As I was saying, I really feel this 2 of Pentacles inverted is pointing back to the need for that balance and needing to know versus accepting that we don't know. But the Devil here, again, I just feel a lot of shame. Like you've got too much riding on this. And I don't know if that's because, I don't think it's because you're in actual material danger. I feel like this is more spiritual and personal for you. That I'm a very accomplishment-oriented person, and I feel the despair in you over feeling that you don't have certain things that you need to prove who you are. The problem is that when we bring that energy to our endeavors, it gets in our way. It doesn't help us. It doesn't make us stronger. You might think that like saying like, I need to fucking write this book and publish it so that people can read it, or who am I? And it's like, well, you're the person that wrote that book, whether you write the book or not. Yes, our endeavors change us. Yes, it's important to, I want everyone to read my book. I want everyone to watch this tarot video. We have a deep and beautiful and resounding need to be seen for who we are, and certainly our actions and our accomplishments are part of how we communicate that reality to other people. But no matter what your beliefs around God are, one thing I really appreciate about the concept of God is someone who sees everything you do and everything you are and everything you think without needing that medium that other individual humans might need from us. And I think that that's a need that we have to feel seen and loved unconditionally and without any interference, without any necessary action on our part to be known through God, is something that we all need to come up with a version of in ourselves to live a happy and fulfilled and secure life. It's, the idea of a mother's love, even though a lot of us don't experience it in reality, but the concept of it, of a healthy, secure attachment to someone who loves you unconditionally, and your just mere existence is enough for them. They can see all the potential in you. They can feel the reality of your soul. You don't have to prove anything to that mother. I certainly don't have that mother, but I strive to be that mother to myself as well as my children. And so I'm really feeling a lot of this coming through for you today, Sagittarius. Yeah, I get this. So I get the Ace of Swords. This conversation was prompted by an extra major arcana card that exists in this deck called the Seeker. Just see if you can sort of see it there. So the Seeker is sort of the fool at the end of the cycle after the world, where he's gone through the whole ringer and now he's starting again. And the Seeker energy, again, is something I really relate to. It's just constantly evolving, constantly wanting more, constantly wanting to prove myself, to have another thing on the list that's going to show me and show the world more of who I am. And I clarified what we were just discussing with the Ace of Swords, which is saying that the more you clear this notion that you aren't who you are until you prove who you are, the more ideas and the more truth about who you are that's going to come through for you, the more inspiration that you're going to have, and the more enthusiastically you'll be able to wield it. This Ace of Swords looks a lot more pleasant than the Ten of Swords that came out with the first three cards. We want clarity and vision and purpose. We don't want berating and negative self-talk saying, well, you better fucking make this happen, or who are you? We don't want that. If you do get what you want, that same Empress came out, and I'm reading the Empress differently in this reading than I typically do, because she's inverted, but I feel like that's a good thing. If you get what you want, actually, I'm sorry, I have to take it back. I wanted to say, maybe you'll realize that you do need help after all. But that was my bias coming through. When I actually look at this and you get what you want, again, I think this is because of the energy that you're approaching it with. If you get what you want, you're not going to feel like you got it at all. You have the Empress. I'll show you. We have the Empress inverted. The Six of Wands inverted. And the Nine of Wands upright. And so I feel like you're just going to begin the cycle again if you keep bringing this energy to your endeavors. It's never going to be enough. It's never going to be something that can actually land with you. You're not going to feel the victory in it. You're just going to be looking, because the Seeker is cyclical, but he can get trapped in this coming and going and coming and going. A happy Seeker, if we were talking about the happy Hierophant, knows not what he believes. A happy Seeker is someone who is comfortably able to exist in the realm of ignorance and achievement. I'm just doing the work that's in front of me. I'm not really focused on whether I've, slayed the beast, or I'm not ashamed if I haven't even begun something that's going to be important to me yet. It's someone who can occupy this space without trying to get to one end or the other, except through just the organic pursuit of his Ace of Swords, all these ideas that are going to come to him of how he can, because this is all just for you. It's just to develop. The process is meant to develop your understanding of yourself and to enhance the pleasure of your life, and that's it. So I feel that the outcomes here are actually quite similar, that you're being very destabilized by shame and kind of stealing from yourself if you don't get what you want. And if you do get what you want, you're just going to be right on to the next thing, is what I'm seeing here. And I'm worried about that. So I'm going to clear the table and ask for some advice from a different deck. I'm just looking over at my computer, wondering if the camera's going to cut out again. Where is this coming from, please? Conditional love. Six of Pentacles inverted, Ace of Swords inverted, and Page of Cups. I feel like this is coming out of your family of origin. Oh, and one more cup wants to come out, Three of Cups. I feel like this is coming out of your family of origin, so your parents, your family, whatever that role was there. Because we have the Page of Cups, the offer of love, looking very sort of like, I got it. With the Ace of Swords inverted and the Six of Pentacles inverted. So much like the Ace of Cups can represent our self-love, Ace of Swords to me is our self-regard, how we see ourselves. And the fact that that Ace of Swords used to be paired in the upright with the Seeker, who is grounded and confident in his ability to cycle through this process of inspiration, striving towards that goal and meeting it wherever it lives, not how he had conceived of it. We're really being blocked here from this offer of conditional love, saying, like, we will not perceive you generously. We will not support a self-regard that you are worthy, that kind of maternal love, that God's love I was talking about. There's someone very influential in your life saying, we will not provide that. You must perform. And because I see that with the Three of Cups, usually this is a really positive card for me about our community, and especially our creative community, and celebrating ourselves. But I see this as you will not be admitted to that if you have not performed. So that's a really common situation for people to get into. It's something that parents can even do out of their own stress and anxiety projected onto their children. It by no means indicates a lack of love. But the Knight of Pentacles, okay, thank you for that. How are we going to move forward towards a more secure version of this story? I want us over here. Yeah, the Emperor and the Ten of Cups inverted, but I think there's a good explanation for that coming in here. Okay, so we're starting from, so that I have our starting point, our destination, and 3 steps in between. Our starting point is the Queen of Cups inverted, which makes a lot of sense, right? This sense of like kind of alienation from oneself. We're not feeling safe to just sort of navel gaze, I guess. Navel gazing can be nice sometimes, to just be like, yeah, I have me. The Queen of Cups is not concerned with what other people see in her. She's seeing inside of herself, but it's inverted, so we're having difficulty. We're trying to prove with our external manifestations. Whew. So our steps to, so our outcome, where we're trying to go, is the Emperor inverted, upright. And this I love. This I feel like is really someone who is not afraid to take up space, in the sense of like they're not afraid to show up with exactly what they've got and exactly who they are. They're not trying to prove any, they're not like, oh, I know you'll like me when I get that, or this is a very different version of the energy that we were working with in the outside of this, being like, I'm getting the come hell or high water, this is going my way. The Emperor doesn't need anything to go his way, actually. The Emperor is his way. The Emperor is totally content in who he is, and confident that people will see in him what's there to be seen. And he sees it in himself. He's kind of like a bit more of a masculine, outwardly manifesting version of the Queen of Cups for me. The fact that the Ten of Cups is inverted paired with him is he's saying that my dream is not defined. I have no static image of what I want for my life, but I'm attaining. I'm just here. Like, this Emperor just feels so... Sorry, Sagittarius, for cutting out again, but as I was saying, I just so love the presentation of this Emperor, and I feel, I can feel the content, self-confidence, and just pure presence and investment in his own experience that he has here. And that's what's going to ultimately, honestly, bring the regard from other people that I think you're really craving and looking for, which is totally natural. Our steps to get here: the Nine of Cups inverted. Stop trying to control your feelings so much. Like when I think back to that Empress being like, I don't need anything from you. I think we need to let that go a bit, because we've got the Nine of Cups inverted and the Moon, and the Ten of Wands inverted, the kind of relinquishing of this burden. And I think the burden that we're relinquishing is this notion of self-control and achievement, and projecting the image that we want to be known for out into the world with such, do or die, like, this is it, do not question me, reality. You're not even saying that to a person, you're saying it to reality. So So I'm going to ask about this moon. I feel like that's the end of our reading coming in here. What is the healing that we're looking for? Ace of Cups inverted, Ten of Pentacles inverted, and the Page of Wands. So again, with the Ten of Pentacles inverted here, I feel like this is kind of coming out of our family of origin. Feeling like, do I have a place in my family? But also a real desire to build a beautiful and well-lived life. I feel like that kind of points back to the Hierophant. You know, you want to be seen as someone who has accumulated such a rich body of knowledge and understanding of life. But with the Ace of Cups inverted here, right, like we were saying, that the Ace of Swords, self-concept, Ace of Cups, self-love. We really want to support that in you. And when I'm like, how can we support that? I get the Nine of Pentacles inverted as well. So we have the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles, this sense of independence. There's something about it where you don't, like, you literally think the world would end if someone knew the truth about you. You can't leave it to fate whether or not people love and accept you. So you've compensated for this insecurity in yourself and how you see yourself by believing that you can control how other people feel about you. And then you'll feel safe and you'll feel loved. But no, it needs to start with you. How can we support that work? I'd really like to. So being prepared to let go of our current self-concept with the Ace of Swords inverted, but also Temperance. I feel like this is our answer here. Temperance is a really important card to me personally. It's really about giving over the power of control, that domineering sort of, this is the way it has to be, and also kind of speaks back to that concept of God's love, but like relinquishing the need for control, but also I think bowing more to the concept that people could be disappointed in you. People could see you as less capable or less strong or as taking up less space, and that would be okay. Does that make sense? You don't have to be the be-all end-all to everyone around you. Because then we have the Page of Wands. You love what you have to bring to the world so much. And remember, that wouldn't be the case if you didn't actually love yourself. Because they are one and the same thing, and I think maybe you divide yourself from your work more than is either helpful or possible. Because all of these ideas, all of these things you want to do, they are a part of you and they come from your central integrity. So I think trying to connect to that feeling and letting your guard down, it really just seems like if you invite people into the reality of your struggle and your need for love, that you will, a lot of this tension and this energy that's manifesting around your beautiful endeavors here will just dispel naturally. But good luck, Sagittarius. It sounds like you have so much literally on the table, but also figuratively on the table, and I can't wait to check in with you next month and see how this is going. Thanks.